Happy almost New Year's. This is going to be my last mani, or at least last YouTube upload of 2023. I can't believe the year is almost over and we're about to start 2024. I swear I don't know where the time goes. It goes by so quickly. But for my last upload of 2023, when I think New Year's Eve, I think of bling. So of course I had to incorporate a bunch of glitters into this mani. So if you want to see how I create this last look of 2023, stick around and we'll get into it. If you followed me for a while, you already probably know about my love of All Powdered Up and her unique and gorgeous dips. I am obsessed, so of course for today's mani, I had to use her New Year's Eve trio because they were just so unique and so outside of the box. So let me show you the colors really quick before we jump into the mani. I can't wait to use these gorgeous dips, and for this mani, I'll also be using my Vivid Glam Co dip liquids. Now let's jump right into this mani. So I'm going to be starting with Countdown because I like to do one color at a time. So Countdown is a gorgeous mix of a fine black glitter and then it's got larger hex pieces in it. I'd say it's maybe like a magenta color. But it's not a super chunky glitter. It's mainly the fine black glitter with the magenta hex glitter sprinkled in. So it's super easy to work with because it's not a whole lot of chunky glitters. So starting on my index finger, I'm doing a bit of an ombre at my free edge for this. So I'm dipping my ombre brush into the glitter. I've got my finger pointed upwards a little bit and I'm just tapping at the free edge, letting the glitters kind of fall towards the center, kind of fade in. But I don't want to go too far because I am rocking shorty, so I'm just making sure I'm keeping it at my free edge. For the rest of my nail, I'm just pouring over my clear dip powder to absorb the rest of the wet dip base, and this creates more of an even nail surface. If I were to just do the glitter at my free edge and not put anything else on the rest of my nail, it would be thicker at my free edge than at my cuticle area, and that would make it a little more difficult to file, and I'd probably risk filing through the glitters. So I like to make sure that I've got dip powder on my entire nail, which is why I've got the clear at my cuticle area. And even though this isn't a super chunky glitter, I am pouring over for my first layer, as you saw with my middle finger, which is a full layer of Countdown. But that's just really because the all powdered up jars are filled to the brim, and I don't want to spill the powder everywhere. I mean, they're filled to the point of I have a hard time getting all the powder back into the jar after I pour them out. I'm now going in for my second layer, and you may notice on my index finger I did dust off a larger glitter piece, so there is a bare spot, so I definitely do need that second layer for the ombre. So it's going to be the same process, but I will say I did start with a dip base on the clear part of my nail first, and then I applied it over the glitter area because I didn't want to contaminate the clear. But I'm just dipping my ombre brush into the glitter, tapping on at my free edge, making sure I'm happy with the coverage. And you can just dip your tip if you want a little more coverage at your tip into the glitter. Just make sure you don't dip your entire nail. And then I'm going to pour over the clear dip powder to the rest of the wet dip base to absorb that and make my nail even. And for my second layer on my middle finger, I'm just going to lay my finger flat into the glitter because I want to pick up more of those larger hex pieces because they're just so pretty and I want a little more pop of color on that nail. For my index finger, I decided I wanted a little more of the magenta glitter, so I decided to do some glitter placement. So I applied a layer of dip base to my entire nail. I dipped my precision tool into that dip base, and I'm just going to individually pick up the little glitter pieces and place them where I want that little bit of color. I don't want to go too crazy because I do have shorties right now, but I do just want to add a little bit. So I'm adding a couple of the larger pieces, but more of the smaller pieces as well, just to get a little more color incorporated into my ombre. The next dip I'm going to be using is a glass of bubbly, and this is going to go on my ring finger and thumb, and this might be my favorite dip out of the trio just because it is so blingy and just so unique. So it's a fine to small glitter mix. It's a silver glitter, but it does have like a little tint of pink to it. But it's not just that, it's also got like some sort of color shift that just makes it so gorgeous and so blingy. Like, I feel like when I think of New Year's Eve, this is the kind of blingy glitter that I think of, and it's really tempting to do just a one color mani just with this dip, just because it's just so gorgeous. What I love so much about All Powdered Up is that her dips are so unique, and I feel like they are just outside of the box. Like, personally for me, if I were to pick a trio, I would never pair these three colors together. But with the trios she creates, they're just so outside of the box. Like, I always buy them because I know that I trust her eye for things and how they go together. But it always takes me a while. So I buy them, but it takes me a while to figure out how I'm going to pair them together, but I'm always really happy with the way they end up turning out together. But it's just not your traditional mani that I would normally come out with, which is why I love it. The last tip I'm going to be using is I'll Toast to That, and that's going to go on my pinky. And this is a black base with a fine shimmer or baby flaky. I don't know, it's the kind that flies everywhere. So I do have regrets for doing pour over, because it's one of those where you don't want to breathe around because the shimmers or flakies, whatever that is, are just so fine. When I think of All Powdered Up dips, these are the types of dips that I think about. Just the fine baby flakies and shimmers that fly around if you breathe around them. They make a huge mess, but they are just so worth it. And here, if you could have seen the mess that flew around as I poured in the rest of my powder. As a last minute decision, I decided to ombre a little bit of I'll Toast to That at my cuticle area on top of a glass of bubbly, because I was thinking, you know, Countdown is a black base, I'll Toast to That is a black base, and then you've got my ring finger with a glass of bubbly, which was like that light silver. So I wasn't sure if that stuck out too much. So I figured I'd kind of deepen it up a little bit, have it kind of fade. So at the cuticle area, it was darker, and then it would fade into that lighter silver, and that would kind of help it blend into the set a little bit more. So it's just going to be that one layer just to make a little bit of that blend, but I didn't want to go too much into it. So I've just got my finger pointed a little bit downward so that powder would fall towards my free edge and just kind of fade in the middle. So I'm happy with that blend, so I'm going to keep it like that is and then continue with my second layer of I'll Toast to That on my pinky. I went ahead and capped everything in clear, activated and filed and buffed off camera. So here's how the mani's looking. So now we're going to get into my favorite part of a mani, which is top coat. So I will be using my Vivid Glam Co dip top coat. So in order for your dip top coat to dry, you do need activator. So I am applying one final layer of activator to all my nails, and I'm going to wait a full 2 minutes, and then I will go in with my dip top coat. In order to get maximum shine from your dip top coat, you do need 2 layers. So for the first layer, I'm applying my dip top coat in 2 to 3 really quick swipes on each nail. I am wiping my brush on a lint-free wipe in between each nail in order to avoid contamination of my brush. Once I'm done with all 5 nails, I know I'm ready for my second layer because my top coat will start looking a little dull and wrinkly. So for my second layer, I'm making sure that I'm covering my entire nail, making sure to cap my free edge as well. I still also wipe my brush on a lint-free wipe in between each nail just in case. As always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles with my Scales of a Mermaid cuticle oil. This is an oldie but goodie. This is I Make Poor Decisions, and it's one of my favorites. As I wrap things up, if you're going out to celebrate New Year's Eve, I hope you have a fun and safe time. I will be at home in my pajamas watching the ball drop from the TV. And here's to hoping 2024 is the best year yet, filled with a lot of love and happiness. 2023 has been quite a ride here on this YouTube channel, and I can't wait to see what 2024 has in store for all of us. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this, and it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one in 2024. Bye!